can't handle the truth.
Yo, what's good, party people?
Can y'all hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing? Hey, welcome to Truth to New Minority. I'm Lou.
I'm Don.
I'm Dre.
We're here talk about some topics, have a little fun, poke a little fun, but it's all serious. You know, yeah, I got on the NY hat because I'm blue, but I'm from Baltimore all day and I support the O's all day. And I know what you're about to say. You can get an O's hat, a blue O's hat. You're right. I just have it, so it is what it is. I'm rocking it today, so you know
Oh,
it is
feel
what it
bad,
is.
buddy. I got
Oh
sample.
shit!
It's all love.
I just you have a hat. Sorry.
I got the
That's
Philly.
pretty, I
I got the Philly shorts on though.
It is what it is.
Zone.
We're going through. So I'm gonna drop a little tidbits on everybody real quick. It's not a political show right today. This ain't it today. But you need to pay attention to what's going on with the orange dude that's doing all kinds of crazy nonsense.
As always.
It does affect us. Tariffs, they're affected. Found out today that Mexico is making you pay if they got tags on anything taken into Mexico. I don't say out, in. So if you buy clothes and you still got tags on, like so many of us do to buy clothes to go down there, take the tags off. They're making you pay for it. They tax it. And this is all
That shit crazy.
That shit crazy, them motherfucker. And I also like to say to all those traveling outside the United States, going to other places, be careful. I know we all like to travel and get out, but you really got to think about it, how you're going to move until we get rid of this orange dude, because nobody likes us. Nobody.
And also to add to that, it's imperative, and I'm gonna say this again. It's imperative as us as black and brown men and women. If you're going into a country or if you're going on a cruise ship, however you're getting in, please make sure you have all your documentation when you step off of any vehicle to tread their soil. So when you're coming back in, don't have no lost documents, no missing documents, none of that.
Yeah,
Because
none of that.
Hard time and red tape getting back.
Yeah, it's bad. It's sad. It's a sad day. It's a burn.
One man, you know, on some type of power trip.
You want to be a king?
I feel bad. He made a wrong judgment call. He shouldn't have bombed them folk.
No. The mugs that voted him in the office made a bad judgment call.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But they all in collusion together is what I'm saying, man. All that's just crazy.
So we're gonna jump off that because this ain't that.
We off that though. We off that. Just
all right.
Us as black folk, when we travel, just make sure that we careful. We have all our documents up to par. That's all. Now let's get to
big facts.
To the good stuff.
All right, so
love y'all brothers.
Damn, I'm
love you too, bro.
Hell,
what you got, Don?
All right. If you have to help build up a young man, what are some things you want to say to him these days? Like, we got a lot of young men coming up behind us, and they may not have that male authority in their life to help build them up. So it's on us to do it.
Can I say something to add to what you just said?
No, you got it. Go say what you gotta say.
Miss your point. All right, I think us as black men, sometimes we make the mistake of always saying us as young men. We get the young men's they're always going to be there, but what about the middle age? It seems like they forgot about, because a lot of times coming up, like I said, I don't throw rocks to the glass house. I use myself as an example. Like I said, I thank God for you brothers actually embracing me, bringing me into your circle in your life. And building a solid foundation, you know what I'm saying, of structure of the other side from what I'm used to.
Okay.
If you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that there's a percentage, I would say can't put a number on it, but there is a percentage of brothers that have grown up and they're in their early 40s, late 50s, or what have you, and are still willing to have open mind to it and embrace that because, like I said, I'm a smart dude, but also y'all have helped me a lot from the short period of time that we've been on. Yeah, of course, we laugh and joke and cut it up and shoot the shit, but also, like I say, I'm not slow, dumb, none of that. I'm a very smart, intelligent dude, so I'm able to pick up what's the game that's being given. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think as a whole, the young men to the middle age or what have you, us as brothers have to really just start reaching out and just giving them the game. Now, it's up to you to accept it or take it, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, they're going to come back at some point and be like, hey, man, thanks. I needed that because I never had that before. Now, it could be because, now, mind you, some people have built up walls. But as the more and more you talk and you converse, bricks come down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Bricks come down, walls get decimated, and good relationships and everything gets formulated and built back up. You know what I'm saying?
No, I definitely agree. So a lot of times, especially when you're speaking to somebody, let's say mid-20s on up or even early 20s on up, you can't ever come across as if you're preaching. Because that's never received well. Like if you preaching to somebody, because I remember when I was young. I mean, it was a while ago, but I remember when I was young.
I got that.
And older dudes just talk to me, and the ones that was talking to me real, I received. But the ones I felt like, yo, you just preaching to me, like your life is just perfect. You've never done anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like that would win one in out the other. So just letting cats know, young cats know that from experience, like I've ran into that wall already. So I don't want you to run into that wall. So I think that's like the biggest thing, just really kicking it to young men, like as a real person. You know what I'm saying? Like I was young once, I made these mistakes. How about you do it differently and not make the same mistake?
So I'm gonna say this: having a 17-year-old, seeing how I watched them grow up, I watched the kids, I watched seeing the generations, how we all are separated because of how we came up. You know what I'm saying? My son was basically raised the same way I was, but it's a different time.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So, but he had access. These kids now they got access to more than we ever did at the age they did. Our fun was TV and outside. Their fun is games, and they more antisocial. So when you look at them, like I had to treat my kid like this, and I tell everybody to treat their kid. And it's a fucked up analogy, but it is. When you got a rabid dog, you socialize him, so he don't go out biting other dogs and doing other dumb shit, right? It's called socialization. If your kids ain't socializing with other kids, they never grow those socialization skills.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So my son played football, he played basketball, he played football. He did shit. So he's a social dude. He's been around other kids, got mad, got in little tussles, but that is life experience that they need to experience, not stuck in the house like this all day. But it's a double-edged sword because now you'd rather your kid be in the house on the game than being out here because the new generation is way different. They doing a lot of stuff that we didn't think about doing at an early age. You feel what I'm saying? So to communicate with them, and I told you my son, I was like, I have to sit back and I really have to listen to what he's saying to me because to us, it don't make no sense.
No, it don't.
It don't make no sense. You got to pick through it, but we're smart enough to pick through it and be like, oh, this is what you mean. And, you're sitting there like, what? And you in your mind, because you're like, yo, what the fuck is the matter with you? You know what I'm saying? And I don't even know, I'm going to be honest. if the kid is not receptive, there ain't nothing you can do. You know, the only thing you can do is give it a good 100% try, see if it rubs off on them, and then you gotta like, let's say Don, you live over here, bang, he with you his mentor for 3-4 days out, 3-4 hours out of a day,
Right.
and maybe 3 days out of the week. The rest of them days is spent going back into that jungle that he can't be a kid.
Right.
He can't be a young man because everything he's on guard because the hyenas is out here. You understand what I'm saying?
Then it becomes confusing because now you got to keep.
Then it becomes like I want to be a different cat,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't let these hyenas eat me. And
That's
you say, and what you say to him, he's like, "Yo, you going back and that's like that's why I always said, if I had a choice, if I had something to do that would benefit kids in school, I was like, when they get to middle school, they'd have a class in there called life.
Yeah.
Well,
that everybody would, you know, during the course of the day, everybody would have that hour, the vent, because you know kids see a lot,
yeah,
and they don't get to talk about it.
They don't,
you know. But if you go to this life class, there's no judgment, and you talk to these kids, you give them a release, because when you go back into the jungle, there's no release. You know, they bring all kinds of shit to school, man. You know what I'm saying? They done seen their man get shot.
That's because society now, the way they have the school system set up now, have screwed that all the hell up because there's no way in hell, my personal opinion, there's no way in hell they should have changed the schools. You should have been able to still go to school, graduate from the 6th grade, like back home, graduate from the 6th grade.
Yeah.
Then you have
7, 8, 9.
Then you 7, 8, and 9 graduate. Then you have 10, 11, 12. That's how you kept a positive respect amongst everybody. Now you throwing these kids, their minds is still stuck on elementary school, putting them in middle school. Then about time to get here, and I have to go there, and I'm not no disrespect to nobody's daughter, no disrespect to nobody's sons. But at the end of the day, the young females are overly developed, and they're sticking them in with these high school kids, and they're by them looking, and their facial features are making them look like they're older than what they are. So it's enticing the ones that's up, even though they should know better once they find out what grade it is. But they're looking past that and just seeing the formulation of just the body. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, like I say, it's just all, you know, it's a society's fault, man. It's just screwed up. You know what I mean?
It's lack of parenting.
Right.
Not always.
Let me explain this. My mother had this thing. She always said, I don't know what you would do if I ain't around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She's assuming that I'm going to do what the fuck I'm supposed to do. We were mischievous. We wasn't out there trying to be criminal. You know what I'm saying? We were getting this shit. The main thing, we came up in a different generation. Yo, I want a car, I want a job, and I want to chase these women. That was the goal of life when we was young. You know that when I get older, I want a car, I want a job, a car, and I want to chase this.
Yeah, because it's a flex when you able to. Well, I know for me,
You know what I'm saying?
when I was able to get the keys and drive myself to school. Oh my gosh, what?
That's all we did.
Yeah.
We had good fun. We wasn't out there wilding like these dudes do. They wilds out. They just like they like uncaged ant. I hate to say it, but they like uncaged ant. Like, and you know, and you can't really say nothing to it. It's like to the point that you can't say nothing to nobody else's kid because you're gonna create some shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's a societal issue.
But I think it's in pockets though, because I'm
gonna tell you like this. Even the dudes that live in part of PG County ain't nothing but nice $100,000, $600,000, $700,000. Even they got issue with YNs.
But I'm saying, but you can have, that's what I'm saying. You can change the aesthetic, but if the problem lies with the individuals of the parents where they're moving demographically, they're bringing that stuff there. And then hold up, but you can't count. But see, this would have a divide. You cannot count them out that's living in a good house because
they want to be something they ain't.
They don't no. Their parents make them feel like they entitled to shit. whether you black or
Yeah,
white.
that entitlement is the
That's
problem.
where a lot of that shit come from. So then it escalates when they get a hold to a hood friend, or I'll say someone that I'm gonna keep it at a hood friend, a true hood friend, and it's like now it's like, oh, and they know they're not built like that, so they start taking on their characteristics and want to build themselves around that. Then they start becoming them, acting like them, want to dress like them, because why? Guess what? You see people dress. I get told all the time, bro. Trey, you see how you see me on the set. Yo, to this day now, grown folks, just on our level, on our age, some are in their 20s coming into the set, 30s, whatever. So, Trey, remember the stuff used to try to get at you at you shouldn't do this. These grown ass folk, Trey, they doing the same thing you was doing, bro. They trying to emulate you, want to dress like you, want to carry themselves like you, act like you, do this, do that. And the crazy part is I see it. And I just sit back and wow, because those are the ones that was trying to dish out the rules of the rule book and the playbook and say, don't do that, you should do that, or you got to do this, that way. And I'm like, hold up. I never did anything about it, but I saw y'all do a whole lot of messed up stuff. But then now you trying to cash out on somebody else's image, all because you got these new set broads coming in, don't know no better. You know what I mean? And then you got the new set dudes coming to see, and that's another thing. Each week it was always, that's what I miss. Sometimes I miss back in the day because you can go here, and then everybody just they crisscross and go this way. But when you have these functions of the parties, you have a group that come, but the next party you go to, there's somebody having, you see a whole host of different folk coming, so it's a blend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's say this, right? Let's say we all had people we looked up to. You know what I'm saying? My father was a dressing dude at the time, but his era was his era. My thing was, I never really tripped because my parents, I already knew things about life in general. Because they was like, yeah, you get 2 pair of tennis at the beginning of the year, and after Christmas you get another 2 pair. That's the way I came up. You know what I'm saying? I said I'm not for those that didn't have it like that. I understood why they did certain things. But I couldn't, like, me being where I was and what I was doing and what I was seeing. I've seen some fucked up positions. I'll be like, yo, I know why you're doing it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you just be like this. Because it don't make sense because you gotta pick and choose your battles. You know what I'm saying?
See, society is cruel though.
Listen, I'm not knocking nobody that came up with you 100%,
but to add to
or
that,
none of that. But you gotta answer. You gotta say this too, Trey. And you said you were leaving by example on the set or whatever. You know what I'm saying? When I came through, it was like this. Yo, dudes was wearing. I knew my mother wasn't gonna buy me no $200 tennis. There was nothing in her mind. And you know what they didn't do? They never gave me false hope that's what's gonna happen. Yeah. Like even when I get with hope, shut up, Trey. Goddamn.
I didn't say nothing. I'm just moving.
I said when I got out of high school, there was nothing in my mind that said my mother was gonna buy me a car. There was no thought process there that I was gonna get a car coming out of high school. You feel what I'm saying? So, but they laid that down, and you, as a smart, intelligent person at that time, knew your people ain't had bread like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You knew certain things wasn't gonna get got. You just knew, but you understood. You knew the bus was gonna be your friend for a couple minutes. If you wanted to go over there and chase ass, you hoped your homeboy, y'all rolling together. There was tag team ass chasing back then.
Yeah, but
your man got a car, and that's your man, and y'all kind of do things together until you get on your own. But the whole thing is, we gotta you have to raise these kids from ground zero.
Right.
Remember, grandmothers are now 35 and 40.
Right.
Yeah, because
ain't no grandma. Look, no. Shut up, Train. Goddamn, you had your half-hour fame. So you understand?
Hey, yo, Dre, just get that nigga the middle finger.
So you come through, and you make it happen. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand certain points and values. And we all went through different phases. Luckily, none of us sitting in prison or did nothing crazy. We all got decent jobs. We good out here. We ain't the richest motherfuckers, but we far from the poorest. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have to look back at these kids, and like when you mentoring kids today, it's a whole new day. I applaud dudes that can mentor kids today. I applaud them. I stand because you got to talk to them a certain because they so fucking sensitive. They sensitive, man. They followers.
I agree with you, man. Because I was actually privileged to work at the Boys and Girls Club up in Annapolis, right? And I tell you, the shit. Excuse my French. That these teenagers come out their mouth with and tell you that they're going through with dealing with peer pressure, home. The young girls, I'm sitting there and they're coming around me. They're shit out here this way, and then the dudes, you know what I mean, crying and then leaning on you, wanting to hug and all that. Because I'm like, yo, and then it's like, you're like, wow, this shit was blowing my mind. I'm like, yo, this is
I was
crazy.
happy as hell when they put uniforms in schools.
Yeah,
because it took pressure off kids. It took pressure off because when you're looking at a kid that the most pressure you had then was what kind of tennis you had on. But if you don't have the bread and you don't have the clothing outfit, these motherfuckers will run. Yo, we got rolled out there, bitch. You come in for some fucking some bullshit on. They're gonna tear your ass a new one in there. But we were tougher. But
that's true. You're right.
Now the only thing you got to be worried about is tennis. I love the uniform thing because it took the bullshit out of it.
It did take a lot of bullshit away because, like, when I was coming up, y'all didn't have uniforms.
There's certain things we couldn't wear to school, but we didn't have. That's why I said we can never compare our time to their time. You know what I'm saying? Because when they did that, remember, we came up in the era when niggas was shooting niggas for starter coats.
Yeah.
You know, if you had a basketball, football, we came up in that era. So you didn't get a starter coat. As long as you didn't have a starter coat, you wasn't gonna probably get or a puff leather or a Shirley or something of other such or a Pelly Pal or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You were pretty much good. You know what I'm saying? So you was pretty much good. But if you had on a starter coat, especially the North Carolina Blue or the Philly Sixers or Maryland, nigga, or Celtics. And then, don't forget the pro teams. You might not make it back. You might not make it back home with that bitch on.
Or these,
I used to
the Gazelles. Remember they snatched the glasses?
Yeah,
glasses,
crazy stuff.
Yeah. So,
like I remember when I was coming up, like my parents had 4 kids. My father was the only one that worked. By choice, he only wanted to be the only person working in the house. But I would see like the dudes at school, you know what I'm saying? And they fresh to death, polo down or whatever. And I'm like, I'm trying to get on that level, but I know my parents ain't about to get it for me. My parents wasn't about to buy me no $80 shirt. We got 4 other shirts to buy in this mother. So it ain't just you. So I had to, do what I had to do to make sure that I can come to school fresh. So the uniforms did change.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Let's just drop it back here because it runs into my thing about consequences, choices and consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you: did you have to go out there and do what you did, or did you just choose to go out there because you wanted to? Was this peer pressure that you saw?
I don't think it was peer pressure, but it was definitely wanting to relate to the young ladies. You know what I'm saying? You want to come up.
Societal pressure. Then.
Yeah, like you can't.
You fell into the loop. You fell into the cause.
Oh yeah.
Off of societal's issues.
Yeah.
And see, and I like that. See, me, I guess my mentality was different or whatever. But I always remember used and damaged jeans.
Yeah.
I had 1 pair of used. I had 1 pair of damaged. I had a shitload of Levi's.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you had to meet out your clothes during the week. Like you couldn't rock a pair of used jeans Monday and then come back on Friday.
Right.
So I might pop the used jeans on a Wednesday, Levi's the rest of the week because I had them in flavors, and then they slide the damage in there. You feel what I'm saying? Because that shit wasn't coming out of my motherfucking house. I knew what the fuck it was. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Yeah, for me it was like so when I got into junior high, y'all call it middle school. When I got into junior high, 7th grade, I was like on some, I'm gonna try to do the smart thing. I ain't worried about all this, but then you start seeing the shorties walking around, and you like, yeah, I'm trying to holler, and they like, not with that. You got on motherfucker like you wear that shit, you ain't getting no play. So, so 8th grade year, I remember we moved across town with my cousin, and my cousin was like, he was going out the house, and I was leaving out with him, and he was like, "You ain't going with me with that shit on." And I was like, "Damn, like I'm getting it from my own family." You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Nah, you can't run around like that." And he took me shopping. And he bought me polo shirts, polo jeans, a polo goose. And now I'm seeing.
Now he done fucked you up.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, I'm on now. So, but I see what he does to get his dough. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm trying to get dough like that.
So let's stop right there. All right. And we all came up in different cities at different times, about the same time. So when I'm going to school, right, I'm rocking a Latigua shirt. I got my little bitch ass chain on. You know how we had some bitch ass chain? Because I was probably 100 pounds back then, you know, 9th grade. You know what I'm saying? I got my thing on, got my Diodorus. I had Diodorus. Had a pair
we
of,
rocked those in
red,
Philly.
I had a pair of red ones, and I had a pair of blue ones. So you know when you got home after school, you took them bitches off, put them back in the box, whatever. So, but I went to school with some dudes that was getting money. That niggas getting money in middle school. That shit was bananas. You know what I'm saying? They rode around. Remember the watercolor Adidas sweatsuits?
Yeah.
The ones I was like, yo, how the fuck these niggas got water? Yo, I can rock. I had Russell, but I know damn well I better not come in the house with a fucking watercolor Adidas sweatsuit.
Hey, Dom, we know.
Yo, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So
let's be clear, because one thing we can do here as men, as grown men, is we can pick each other apart and see how we got to where we are.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be like, yo, so why did you do this? That goes to my consequences, my choices and consequences.
Yeah.
I'm
You know what I'm saying?
Because like for every choice that you make, there is a consequence behind it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're willing to eat the consequence,
and that's a good game you should be playing with. That's a good way to get with the YNs.
yeah. You
get a board up there, put it up there, and say choices and consequences.
Yeah.
That's life. You feel them? Then that's life. That's life right there. That's life laid out. Choices, consequences.
Because there was definitely. Go ahead, Dre.
See how I came up. You know, like I say, it's like.
Yo, you was 6'12". Wasn't nobody messing with you.
Nah, but at the end of the day, though, it's crazy. I'm about to make you laugh, bro, because I had all of what y'all talk. I had the Diodorus, I had the nice sweatsuits and all that type of stuff. Crazy part is I couldn't wear that shit till I got out of school, and they sent me to school in suits. Yeah, literally, I got sent to school in suits, bro.
Right.
Then transferred from suits to Catholic school. St. Francis de Sales, bro. I'm sitting there like, are y'all serious right now? And I'm like, yo. So I got these, and I'm looking at it. I'm sitting there like, all right. So next thing you know, I'm on my AI joint. I'm like this, you know. I'm gonna flex these sneakers with this. The hell with them shoes they talking about we gotta wear. Now I ain't wearing them. I'm like, nah. I was trust me. I was Puma down, shell top Adidas down, or we call them shell toes. The patent leather mid you know what I'm talking about the mid joint.
The top 10
Adidas. The like I said Diodorus, and then for gym and track you got the Brooks and the Saucony joints. Man, those girls was losing their damn mind. They was like, what? Then I flipped outcome and had the left leg rolled up.
Yeah, what the hell you call?
Whatever, man. We here. We talk about this after the show.
I just basically flexed my uniform. Just long story short, I flexed my uniform, but they traumatized me. So now it's crazy because y'all are on this topic, because now up until this point, even at my job now that I have now, and these motherfuckers think I'm out there selling drugs and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that. I'm doing
and ain't nobody found out what's under their head yet?
And because I like cars, motorcycles, and all that type of shit. So I pull up, and I always had a nice whip. But I always move different. I carry myself a certain type of way. but it's it's a stereotypic thing that's out there from folks that you work with, and they're looking at you, and and then they question themselves about the shit that they got, what they driving, and then they're looking at you, and I'm like, yo, you got a nice whip too. Why you on my shit? That's that's what I'm saying. Yo, your joint is just as nice as mine. You know what I mean? I'm like, gets you to point A to point B, and the fact that I'm humble with it, I don't have a big head about none of that stuff. I'm just be like, look, bro, it is what it is. Like I said,
and society is real materialistic.
Yeah.
Even at our age, you see other people drive and other people live, and you like, I want that. You know what I'm saying? I need that. But nobody, at least younger than us, they're not sitting there going, I need to do what that person did to get what that person got. You know what I'm saying? I need to go ahead and work hard and get it all together.
Yeah,
they sitting there thinking, you know what I'm saying? Yo, what's my shortcut to it? You know what I'm saying? How can I get there quicker than he got it?
See, but my shortcut was cut. My shortcut, we had a little brief talk yesterday. I ain't gonna go into it, but my shortcut was short court, and God let me know right then and there. Nigga, no, you going to do this. You going to be boom. And I'm like, you know what? All right, cool. Because I found out that I'm one of the ones that I can't fuck off and do goofy shit because I get spanked real quick. Boom. It's like right there. Straighten that shit up now, buddy.
Yeah. So I was like, I probably had, since I was old enough to drive, old enough to buy my first car, I probably had 25 cars. You know what I'm saying? But I had some shit. I had my first 3 cars with some shit. You know what I'm saying? And I had to tell my son, I was like, but what would I say? Do you understand what I did to get to this level? And the fact that motherfuckers will paint you a label, not knowing that I go to work. At the time I was working midnight shift, so you might see me during the day, but you won't see me no more. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You might see me, it can be rimmed down, system bumping, but they don't see me disappear and go to work. You feel what I'm saying? They be like, okay, we ain't seen, but he got another car. This dude must be doing it. Yeah, I'm doing it at work. I'm doing it with overtime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm doing it at work. I'm not doing nothing crazy. That's why I told my son, I said, my kids, I said, yo, you have no reason to do anything dumb. You never see me hang on a corner. None of your parents, some of your mothers we don't get on, but they always had jobs. And you ain't see no shit that said, hey, go sell drugs. You know what I'm saying? You ain't see none of that shit.
Back then, and if they was functioning like they didn't skip a beat on nothing.
Yeah, they was functional. But if you did, I said there was nothing for you to see.
Yeah.
So you look at it, yo, who the fuck? I was like, who the fuck? But at the end of the day, at the same time, we have to. I think I'm gonna say it real for real. I'm too old to communicate with these young cats. I don't have the patience. I don't have the energy, and I don't have the time. I got the patience and the energy for one dude to communicate with, and that's my son. I just want him, but I understand we're supposed to pour back into him. But I think you need to do, let's say if they're in their 20s, they need to do in their 30s because they right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They right there. We are light years ahead of these cats. Like, the first thing they're going to say, oh, that was when you was coming up. But, we do not relate, unfortunately.
We don't relate as far as their actions and how they perceive to
thought process.
Their thought process, to act on their actions, but we can relate because everything they're doing, we done did that shit. Now it's just that they done gave it a different name, but the shit's still the same. It's all that.
Yeah, but they don't relate to us that way. I'm gonna tell you real quick. So the Jim Jones Nas thing. I looked at the podcast. I think I told you all about it, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about the Jim Jones Nas thing. I'm gonna talk about the dudes that made the 2 young dudes that made the statement. They were the dudes that was hosting it was like probably 30, 40 years old. It was 2 dudes, right? So they were talking about it like Jim Jones. They're like, Jim Jones better than Nas. I said, you gotta know these dudes are 22. Unless they was in
I saw it yesterday.
Unless they were,
I agree with you on that.
Unless they were born into the music coming out of your car and your speakers, they know nothing about Nas. Jim Jones thing is he trying to stay relevant,
right?
So that's all. But that bullshit he talking about, he trying, and as long as he stay right and get clicks, he's making money.
But the good
But
part,
the young boy was right. He was like, the only thing, if you saw, everybody know he got two songs, Ballin' and Champagne.
That's it.
That's it. Ballin'
Right.
is a song that's transcended. He's got that one song that you can play at any party. You know what I'm saying?
but
He's
the
got
young
Champagne. You can play it, but they don't. You can't expect a young cat to know anything about hip hop because as far as they're concerned, and I tell everybody, basketball started with them, football started with them, music started with them. They are the beginning. They don't view the past. They start from the day they're born.
all
That's
that
the
shit,
crazy shit. They
all
don't
that-
only dudes musically inclined or think ahead understand that was the past.
Yeah.
These most of these cats, they be like, yo, we invented rap. Like the fuck if y'all did?
and guess
There's
what?
no time to shit.
and then as far as sports go, they always go with LeBron. They always go with LeBron, Kobe, Allen Iverson. That's as far as they'll go back to Allen Iverson and then keep going forward.
I don't even think they go back as far as AI.
I don't think they go back as far as AI, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
nah,
do.
they don't go back.
No,
as far as
I don't
AI.
think so. I think
Hold on,
Steph,
hold on. I'm gonna say this.
LeBron, the Splash
selective
Brothers.
few. I'm gonna say a
I don't
selective
think they
few.
go. They don't even go back to Tracy McGrady or
No, they don't.
none
That's
of
what I'm
them.
saying. A selective. I've only encountered a selective few.
Basketball dude that hoop.
But the
They go
majority
back.
of them, all them jokers go from LeBron up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
LeBron,
And I'm
Kobe,
What?
yeah. They don't. The past
Steph.
does not exist with these young dudes. The
Take
past.
a
We
book.
are old as fuck.
Do some research.
You ask them
Nah,
motherfucker, they
that's
ask them
not
were we
good.
slaves.
But
You
see,
can look
here's
up
the
and
thing
read.
with that, right? Because in a couple of weeks, I'm gonna have probably a whole basement full of young cats. Just chopping it up with them because I watched a lot of them grow up.
Mm-hmm.
So I told them I'm gonna bring them over here just to
What's the date?
just to chop it up here.
What's the date?
I'll let you know. 'Cause I got to coordinate with all of them. Like some of them are working. Some of them are still in school. Not high school, but they're in college. But when I ran into them at my great niece's birthday party, I was like, "Yeah, I got to get y'all before y'all stare too far away from the." Because these are good kids, but even good kids growing up in this environment can go astray. So I was like, "Yeah, I gotta get y'all over to the house, you know." And just to chop it up, you know, not to preach, nothing like that, but just to sit back and have a good conversation. Yo, what's going on in your life? Where you at with it?
And you ask them, I told them, I said the best way to talk to the younger crew, they're like, we can't. One thing they won't take is, like you said, preaching from us. They will. That's not receptive at all. You gotta phrase the question like this, and this is one thing I learned. If I was you, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I was you, that ain't gonna be a good look. And leave it there.
But you know what?
Don't say nothing no further.
But I found out that they're more susceptible. What you just said, they listen to that right there because that shit was told to me a lot of times. Yo, you know what? I don't think that'd be a good idea.
And leave it there.
And I think then after I start utilizing that process, when I would get around certain folk and they hear me talk and speak, the older folks would be like, "Man, you know, hey, young man, yo, I like the way you think." That's because I'm learning from the older cats. I'm paying attention, and that's what we need to do. Anytime
You can't preach to them. You gotta be like,
no, you can't. No, just
I wouldn't do it. But that's all I'm saying.
And just park it.
And then go on about your business. You know what I'm saying? Because you preaching at them is it's like a rebellion thing for them. Like I had to explain to people the day why the people on the avenue when the dude got murdered. Not murdered. You see so much on the avenue. The officer that shot the dude in self-defense up on Pensy and Lawrence. I tell everybody, they say, well, why was the crowd like that? I said, because new society is this. Fuck authority. Fuck the police. Fuck the security guard. Fuck the teachers. If you represent any type of authority, it's fuck you. We want to do what the fuck we want to do. And that is the way of the world with some mixed in with all this bullshit out here. Everybody wants to do. How many times you been sitting at a red light and the motherfucker just decide he gonna drive through the bitch?
Yeah.
a lot.
You feel what I'm saying? Yo, fuck this red light.
Crazy part is they ain't worried about vertical. Don't even worry about vertical, bro. You gotta worry about that horizontal shit. You sit right there, and then your shit turn green for the go. Yo, I'm like, didn't you just see that shit turn that way or that way?
So that leads in. What you got to Dre? I go last today. What you got?
Respect, bro. It lines up with everything I was talking about. Respect. We gotta respect. We have to respect our morals and values, and you have to respect the power of the OG's advice of what they're telling you, because they're not going to steer you wrong if they've been experienced in something, seen some stuff, been through some stuff that they feel that you may be able to help you. You got to respect that, man. And then you got to, first learn to develop to start respecting yourself, because that's where it starts. If you don't respect yourself, you're not going to respect anything else. And I had a big problem with that growing up, with things being handed to me, coming from a family with money, you know what I mean? And you hear, and then when death in the family start happening, and then you start seeing the turmoil and the greediness, and then the separation and divide through family. And now, the scales start going up and down, like, wait a minute, hold up. What's this? You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So now it's like, the more and more you start losing people you close to, the more anger you get. So the more you start losing respect for things, even though you have everything at your disposal that you could ever want, all that, then you take, with my case, out to the streets, hustling, doing this, doing that, because now it's like, I'm not listening to you, because now you finding out what you done told this person, and you backtracking, you're going this way, and I'm like, come on, man, you got to make your mind up. What you want us to do this? You want us to do that? You know what I mean? So now it's like, hey, hold up. Damn, you know what? It's like, now I'm like, boom. And then when I lost my father, I felt like I was just all alone. Regardless of whether I have a whole host of uncles, aunts, and all that, to this day, it's like, I'm gonna say up to the present, I've self-taught myself every damn thing with the grace of God, of the ups and downs, and the few conversations that I was able to have. I even looked to other folks that had the 2-parent household, look to their fathers coming up.
They ain't perfect.
No. Let's hear me out. No. I know they're not perfect, but I'm just saying, when they seen you like right there, they just basically embraced you, brought them in, and treated me like their own. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. But still, in my heart of hearts, that's just superficial to me, because it's like, that's only for a brief moment, because as soon as I'm away from you, it's like, okay, I got to go here, watching my mother bust her ass, do what she got to do. Ain't nobody there. And then the fact of course, everybody been there, you watch your mother get into those relationships with people that say they want to be with you, but it's the whole package deal, the whole nine. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so you lose respect, but then as you start getting around the OGs that been in the neighborhood, that then seen stuff, and they grab a hold to you and they start giving you some jewels, you start listening. You start developing a form of respect and be like, okay, then the OGs basically start telling you how to move and navigate. You know what I mean? So you don't self-destruct on yourself. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I definitely agree. For one, you have to, and this circles back to what we were talking about earlier. We got to teach these young dudes how to have respect for themselves first. Because if you can respect yourself, you're not going to respect authority, just like you said. You're going to sit there and just be angry. You know what I'm saying? And that anger just festers. So we gotta have respect for ourselves first. And then once you have respect for yourself, you start to build on everything else.
Yeah, because once that shit festers, bro, that's just like a time bomb waiting to happen. And it's like, once it explodes, you never know what you're getting.
So I'm gonna tell you like this. So I was talking to a couple of cats that was out in the street, back in the day when, it was some structure in the street. They said the problem was when you took the dudes off the street, let's say you took the head off the street, you left these young cats with no structure. no respect. Like, you know, on Sundays in Baltimore, when back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, there was no hustling going on. Grandmother made it to church. They made sure grandma made it to church. You feel what I'm saying? There wasn't nothing going on. They didn't hustle in front of kids. You know what I'm saying? If you was hustling in that block, nobody knew it. And then if somebody needed bill money, they gave bill money up to the person in the block. They took care of the block. They took care of that area.
Right.
Crazy.
Now it's all about. Now the crazy part about this is all about destruction. Now.
Yeah.
It's destruction. So I don't condone dealing drugs at all. I mean, it's a means to an end because it's a means to an end. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But I always tell, and I tell Don this, and I tell anybody this. I said, let's go back to New Jack City. Let's go back to here in Baltimore. We had the Little Melvins, the Big Heads, all these dudes. I said, y'all look at these dudes, and they're the ones that fucked up the black community. You understand what I'm saying? These are the motherfuckers we grew up idolizing, but they flooded these streets. And it's your choice to take the drugs. But they flooded these streets with a heroin or crack or whatever it was to seek their own, to get to where they were. So now your neighborhood right here, like if you looked at what was it? Blue Hill Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Blue Hill Avenue? Did you ever see Blue Hill Avenue?
Nah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I saw it.
It's a great movie. So when Blue Hill Avenue started, the uncle had the barbershop, right? Yo was hustling. He went from weed to what I think was coke or heroin, whatever. Now his block where his uncle's barbershop is now a strip because it's drug infested now. And they were the root of it.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You feel me? And in the end, I tell everybody in the end, with all that, he lost all his homeboys and almost lost his wife. So where was the win in that? You took a hell of a loss. You feel what I'm saying? A hell of a loss. So everybody's like, boy, you know, I'm going to get in and get out. Blah, 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 blah. But the addiction to the money won't allow you to. The long, especially if you're getting long paper. You know, you just ain't going to put it down and say, let me roll. Because you're addicted to the fast money. But let's be clear. And I tell everybody, I say, yo, we got to stop. We are worshiping. We letting our kids watch the wrong motherfuckers. Like when they bring these motherfuckers, they write like Donald Gowan's books, drug dealers. Woo, 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 woo. Yo, throw that shit in the trash, yo. Let's get some shit over here about how a motherfucker came out the projects, did it right, and built and became something. Like even I don't like Ben Carson for his political views, but that motherfucker grew up dirt poor. Who? Ben Carson, the surgeon from.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Let's talk. We need to feed that shit to them. You feel what I'm saying? You want to put it in a book? Yo, put that shit on the show. But everybody gravitates towards the violence and the bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? And you can change it. But I said we got to go to the schools to change this. We got to get them early. That's why I said middle school is that time when kids are deciding who are they going to be. That middle school is right there. That's the cusp of where you can make them turn them around or do whatever. So they were like, yo, we're going to talk about, say, yo, when you turn 14, 15, and 16, you pretty much who you're going to be. Unless something dramatic happens to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to be, your personality is that you're going to adjust a little as the time goes on, but you can graduate from high school in a couple of years.
Nah.
So your personality is already who it's going to be until you get your life experience. Then it's going to flip again. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but nobody looks at let's start at middle school,
Right.
get some mentoring in there, and go forward.
And I'm gonna tell you,
at this point in time, every kid in middle school on up should have a life class somewhere in that 8 hours of school.
Right.
You go there to debrief. Like you know how when you go to something.
Right.
You debrief the students. Yo, we're gonna
Exactly.
we're gonna go to the auditorium. We're gonna do everything. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who lives over here? You know, you look at the news. You like, who lives around the 3200 block or whatever. What did you think about that incident last night?
That's true. And I had
You know what I'm saying?
I had a privilege. At the event we went to the other day, and I ran into a brother, and he was with his wife, and he writes books. He's working on the part 2. And he was reading. I asked his wife, I said, what's that right there? And she was like, oh, he wrote that book. I was like, all right. So I actually asked him, well, do you have any more? He said, well, he had 4 in the car. So how much are they? He was like, they're $20. So he wanted to give me 2. I said, and I'm making my son read it, but it's called When Every Day Counts by a gentleman by the name of Terrence Massey.
Okay.
Okay.
I think, hold on.
Why that name sound familiar?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we might have to get that brother on the show.
Yeah, When Every Day Counts. I have his number and everything, but he's working on part 2, and he was like, yo, he'd like to see. He was shocked that he saw another young brother. He's like, man, I wish it was more brothers just, interested. He was at the event, but he literally put his own out and he was reading. It's about the IQ of illiteracy. You know what I mean? The hostage situations, man, shit, being clean.
Yeah, he got it here.
A whole bunch of stuff, bro, that's in here. Then I was like, I said, I'm a read it, but I have my son reading it. And I told him, I'm ask him, I'm quiz him on it.
It's at Walmart. Yeah.
Huh?
It's at Walmart. It's there. It's in the stores. It's at Walmart. But then we go to, that's how we get to choices and consequences.
Yeah, but
all right, let's talk about it.
That's what's up. So,
hold on, wait a minute. There it is.
We've always, that's what's up.
Yep.
I think no turn. But that's now choices and consequences. We've all made choices. We have all had consequences.
Sure thing.
But you
And
know what?
Most people think they can make choices without consequences, whether they're good or bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Can I talk, nigga?
I didn't say anything. I'm moving.
What's this?
I didn't say nothing.
Nobody say shit. Talk,
You know
motherfucker.
this motherfucker, the butter and king. But choices and consequences. I would like to say that I probably made more than 70% good choices. You know what I'm saying? Because it's life. Life, you go up. It's ebb and flows on dumb shit. You be like, oh damn, I should have did that shit. And I said that goes through life in general. And I don't think, I'm gonna relate it back to you, you and y'all. When you make fucked up choices, most of the time it's fucked up consequences. But my father always said, if it sounds fucked up, just bring out it because it is fucked up. You understand? If it sounds fucked up, it's because it probably is fucked up. There's like I'll tell you a consequence that's real easy. When you go to college, they give you a credit card.
Fuck yeah. Fuck
$500. You ain't got no job. And guess what it does? Fuck your credit up.
Already off the break, boom.
Off the break, you done made a fucked up choice.
Man, listen.
You go to college. Oh, they graduate 10. You got whoop. Boy, they gave me 500. What? Boy, I'm out. I'm out shit. But or
I
you're
gotta
supposed
say,
to be to work the next day. You're supposed to be to work the next day. And your mans and them say, yo, we going out tonight. You know you gotta be to work at 6:30. But you walk in the door at 5.
Consequence to that too.
It's consequence to that because you're gonna be a fucked up and tired, sleepy nigga.
Yo.
And hung over at your job. Because my father told me from word one, he said, I don't give a damn what you did the night before. Better be at that job. Shit, I don't give a fuck.
And that was rare. It's rare because if you have the type of boss that really like you and he know that you're a good worker or whatever, it's rare because things have changed. But they're gonna let you work through the day, let you get yourself together and come in the next day. They're gonna pull you in the office and they're gonna ring me a new one and say, don't you come back in here again. Like that.
Let me ask y'all the question. I'm gonna put a question out there.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your best choice and your worst choice, and your worst consequences and your best consequences.
When we leave this one, I got this.
Oh,
all right. Best choice was when I decided to leave New York, go down south, get my life together. Best consequence was, you know what I'm saying? I've had a series of great jobs. I built a career. my resume looks phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? And that was my resume is all after I left New York. Worst choice. At dropping out of school. You know what I'm saying? I dropped out of school. My father told me straight up, like, this is gonna be your worst mistake of your life. But from this day forward,
It's your mistake.
it's your mistake to make. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta own it. Not only that, but your childhood ends today. You know what I'm saying? From this day forward, you gotta work for everything you get. Now, of course, you know, me being who I was, a 9-to-5 couldn't get me what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like it just couldn't. Like I'm watching my dad work a 9-to-5, and like he had a car, but it was all right. And I'm like, I don't. If that's what a 9-to-5 get me, I don't want that. You know what I'm saying?
Guess what? It don't get you the feds in your front door.
Yeah. Because one of the worst consequences of that was I was out there, I was in the street, I was doing whatever, and there's nothing worse than you walking out your house and you get to the corner of your block and police snatch you up, take you down to the precinct, and all they doing is reading you a list of charges that they plan to charge you with. And I'm looking like, and at that point, you're an adult.
Okay.
You got to do adult shit.
Ain't no mommy daddy.
Ain't nobody to call. Ain't nobody to, like, I really had, at 17, I had to make true adult decisions in there. And when they let me go, and I was just like, the fuck, yo? You know what I'm saying? Like, all this shit, I feel like, is literally at my doorstep. And I'm like, I can't even go tell my dad, because my dad gonna be like, that's your business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You made that bed. Lay in it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, damn. So definitely dropping out of school. Luckily, you know what I'm saying, I got my life together. I went down south, went back to school, got my diploma, actually ended up having a pretty successful life in law enforcement for a minute. But yo, it looked real bleak for a while.
Mm-hmm.
What about
what you got, Dre?
Where to begin?
No, we don't need a dissertation, goddamn.
I'm not gonna give a dissertation. Actually, for real, I'm gonna give you the worst first.
Okay.
My worst was when I was out there, like I say, outside person. I'm like, do what you ask me to do, and I'm big on promises. If you promising me something, I expect that you do it. Mm-hmm. But I kept hearing no. I'll see what I can do. I got tired of that.
Yeah.
And I like, you know what? Being the people that you know me hanging out and I'm doing and I have stuff. And like you say, it comes back to how he says everything is a choice and consequence too. So at the end of the day, my worst thing was hooking up with some other folk that was part of JBM, doing what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? And no damn license, no nothing. Riding around in these fly ass whips. Ain't being stopped, I'm good. But that one day. All because somebody basically was jealous and envious of me. It was on a snitch thing, which I found out later on. Snitched on me. Got pulled over by a Chevy, 85 G's in the trunk of the car. Just riding around, just crushing shit. Going to school, like, hey, what's up, flexing, all kind of stuff. Worst consequence of my life that day, and that's when God woke me up and said, no, this ain't for you, bro. No, just got stripped. Then didn't quite learn my lesson from that because moved on as I got older. I'm like, all right, I'm navigating through. Like, all right, I'm on my own. I got to do this. Trying to figure out certain things to do. Again, pushing the big whips. This time, license is legit. But linking up with the wrong folk and not paying attention and losing sight of where I'm going, where I'm supposed to be going. You know what I'm saying? And just basically losing sight and becoming more engulfed in that lifestyle of the women. You know what I mean? And I never really flossed on nobody and flexed. I just bought nice shit that I liked to have. You follow me? But that was one of my biggest downfalls is when I was up here with my brother, going down to a bike party in North Carolina. License got suspended because I was like, man, I don't even travel down here all like that anyway. I ignored it, let it go. By the time 2014 came, it was time for me to re-up my license, bro. On some real shit, that motherfucker hit me with this one word that I ain't never heard before. There's links all the states called reciprocity.
Reciprocity. Yeah.
I was like, I'm sitting there, I'm looking, and mind you, I'm smart as hell. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, what the hell is that? Like I'm standing at DMV. What the hell is that? Oh, that's when we're linked. The MVAs are linked from this state to state. I'm like, yo, and that's right there. Everything just went like this. So I had to go up here on Ritchie Highway to the courthouse, get that done. Had to go make an appointment. She told me, go downstairs, make an appointment. I had to go to Durham, North Carolina, bro.
Yeah, you got to go back down there.
But the whole blessing, and the long story short, the whole blessing to it is, when I got down there, it's funny. God working mysterious ways, bro, because we pulled up. It was hella people in there. It was like 200 folk ahead of me. I don't understand how this ratio happened, but I was the second person called. After he got in the one chick's ass about, he told her to have a lawyer when she came. He gave her another shot. I was the second person he called, stood up, boom, went like that. And I looked at him. I was like, yo, I know this dude. I just saw this dude at the party. When I got pulled down and said, fuck this cop, I ain't got to do that. And we at the party, I seen the judge down that bad boy. I seen him. We parked. He recognized who I was, but he just said, you know what? He asked me the question because he had to do his job. I respect that. But he was like, do you have the money to take care of this? Boom, boom, boom. Long story short, took care of it, was going, got back here. And the best thing outside of that, I got it. License was good. Now on to the next best. The best thing out of everything was, I can honestly say, when I met my wife.
Okay.
That's honestly, I can't skate around it, can't pussyfoot around and say, oh, I did this, I did that. No, because mind you, I'm running around doing I'm still doing outlaw shit, whatever. You know what I mean? And she's like, babe, you can still do what you're doing, but wouldn't it just be best to have everything legit? And I was like, man, at the time, you know me, I'm like, man, I ain't worried about that shit, you know, whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, but she had a valid point. Once it came, and now when we start moving forward, it's like, yo, wait a minute. And it feels good to ride past and not get stopped. And if you do, like, hey, man, what's up? Give them and then I hear show my joint, hey, what's going on? And I know some up this way now, down the road, I was like, yo. But the moral of the story is, you got somebody that's good and you feel like you at your lowest of your consequences of the choices that you made, and you got somebody that's willing to ride it out for you. Once you start coming up, it's imperative that you don't turn your back on them and give them your ass to kiss, because God will re-strip you back, and you don't know if you will ever be able to snap back from that. Now, He's going to spank you from doing the shit you've done did and be like, all right, I'll let you see the error of your ways. But for you to F people over that's been there to help you to get back up to your standard and build to go where you want to go, hey, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I thank God for her, and with him and her, helped change my life around. And like I say, and I'm not going to ever say it enough. I'm gonna keep saying it. I thank God for you two brothers in my life now.
Oh, no doubt indeed, brother.
Appreciate it. It's a reciprocal. Let's see. The best.
All right, so go ahead and wrap us up, son.
It's me then. I ain't never tell mine yet.
Oh,
I got one more. I'm gonna make it quick. And we can be done.
Oh, you want to?
I asked the question. You want me to answer the question?
Fucking answer the damn question then.
All right, motherfucker. So the best thing I ever did was follow my father's advice to join the military.
Mm-hmm.
That right there laid my format, for how I proceeded in life. You know what I'm saying? And that's the best thing. Making it through the job and being able to retire is a great consequence. The worst thing I've ever done was probably get married at a young age. My first marriage, it was definitely not the smartest move in the world. You feel what I'm saying? It definitely, I shouldn't have married this chick, and all the signs was there. You know what I'm saying? But it was what it was. I got a 27-year-old out there loving to death. You know what I'm saying? And the worst consequence is, you know, when you get young and dumb and you buy a car, was not putting insurance on the car and totaling that bitch and had to pay for it for 3 years.
Yeah, man.
I ain't had a car for 3 years, but guess who the fuck still was paying for it? So, you know, you learn something. And my mother was like, boy, you know you're supposed to pay the insurance. You can work on the car note. Pay the damn insurance.
Right.
You know, so it's like, nah, that's young and dumb. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was what it was, but you know, I'm making mine brief and sweet. So, you know, because I know it's getting, oh yeah, we out of here. And it's the evening. And people got to work tomorrow. That's so damn sure. And it's, it's
sure,
10. I know Don got to drive in tomorrow, right, Don?
Hell yeah, man.
And I know you get Dre. I know you get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
Dre is off tomorrow.
Oh, ain't that some bullshit?
Showing off. Y'all showing off.
Yeah,
I have 2 words for the both of y'all. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Y'all some bullshit and stuff.
Love you back. It's all good.
But I'll probably be doing less than both of y'all tomorrow, so it don't fucking matter. But
nah, but
some
it's
bullshit.
the only reason why
I'm gonna leave that shit right there where it is. Don't nobody expound on that shit. I'm gonna be in my bed watching the dog.
This heat situation going on.
Yeah, but they ain't got no AC in them dump trucks.
No, it's not that. It's not that. We have people that have issues and they can't really be out on the road like that. Plus, when it's like this, the trucks can't be out on the road like that anyway, unless you get caught out on emergency or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then at around, technically all dump trucks supposed to be off the road by 3 o'clock anyway.
Yeah, because you know you can't. You know in Baltimore you can't. What is it? Unless it's an emergency, you can't even work on the streets past what 3:30.
I don't know about Baltimore, but up this way,
I mean, there's no construction going on unless it's an emergency in Baltimore. At the when rush hour hit, that shit about done.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Unless you get a flood, a pipe, or you gotta go fill a pipe.
They ain't working on shit. They ain't digging up no streets at night, right? It's that's it. These motherfuckers. Now, why you think these motherfuckers? The water department's got 2 shifts because they got to be on alert.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But everybody else, them trucks in the yard parked.
Right.
Them motherfuckers basically work 8 to 4.
And sometimes they send a skeleton.
Any luck?
Sometimes they send a skeleton crew, but if you ain't got to mess with it, I wouldn't advise being out there. If you ain't got to mess with it,
it's gonna be 10 something tomorrow. I was like, God damn, these
103. And that's not even the heat. That's not even the real feel. That's just the
and then
regular
temperature. Air
temperature.
goes out in those trucks. Ain't no way in hell you driving them joints. It's hot as shit up in there. Ain't nobody doing that.
Listen, all that bouncing around y'all doing. But anyway, we got people holding up. And people just tuned in. We up to 5 viewers, but feel free to rewind the show. It's on YouTube. I'll be posting it on my page. I'll be tagging people in it. And
but you never know what God to do, though, bro. This gonna take off. It's just, you know.
I mean,
just if you watch the show, please hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, so when we go live. Because if y'all ain't noticed, we 3 black men on here, so we supposed to start at 8, but sometimes we don't really start at 8.
It's called CP time.
Yeah, so hit that notification bell so when we go live, you don't have to wait around for us. You go live with us.
Right.
And you also get some good rhythm, though.
Yeah.
Dropped on you. So yeah.
So appreciate you, brothers, man.
Appreciate
Let's keep doing this thing, man.
We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna get better.
Yeah. We got to do it, son.
I holler.
Later.
What else was a end stream?
Say what?
End stream.
So let's see. You're about to end the stream. So you think you should hit end
Motherfucker.
stream?
I'm not YouTube qualified.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Truth.